Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to. He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
This is some back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, built every day by our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. We will get to some LSU football discussion with the Tigers back out on the practice field for spring sessions. Also, LSU baseball news as Grambling is in town tonight. I don't know what's going to happen, but as the weather looks horrible. If you're on the road, if you are going into work, if you are about to leave and head on to work and get on the streets, be safe out there. It is nasty.
School's not closed?
Unbelievably, it's not.
Oh, goodness.
Amazingly, it's not. With just a downpour here, but it looks like it's going to be all morning, so stay safe out there. It was a little hairy coming in to work this morning. Some LSU baseball news as the Tigers, 2 of them, named National Players of the Week. We'll tell you about that. Coming up here as LSU is set to host Tennessee. Remember, Daily, our phone line is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. We are set to join and link up with Jamar Kane here on this Tuesday as he finally closed out all of his duties over at LSU and is up in Denver and gets going today. And before he gets onto the job, we're going to link up with him hopefully around 7:30. Greg Brooks was speaking to the media. We'll let you hear some of what we think about that. Brian Kelly spoke to the media as well yesterday. And Jay Johnson names a starter for tomorrow night's tonight's midweek game. A little surprising on who that was, maybe. And the LSU women are gearing up for their Final Four appearance, the first since 2008, as LSU learned last night that they will be taking on Virginia Tech on Friday with a chance to go to the national championship. So lots to get to. Make sure, if you don't mind for us, hit that like button, share button, comment button. As Lloyd is here, Stewie is here. The carpool queen at some point will be through here. Hopefully she makes it in safe this morning, just like hopefully all of you out there, as it is nasty out on the roads and out on the streets. But yesterday we talked to Doug Thompson, and we've been talking to Dougie here pretty early in the weeks of the baseball season and getting his reaction to what LSU and how they're performing on the weekends. And yesterday, Doug said after LSU took 2 of 3 from Arkansas at the box, he said that he believes LSU could quite possibly have the top 2 picks in this year's Major League Baseball draft when talking about Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. Cruz, right now, his numbers are silly. I mean, for last week in 4 games, he batted .625 as he was named the National Player of the Week. He was named the co-National Player of the Week with his teammate, Paul Skeens, as Skeens had another dominant performance, the latest versus Arkansas, as he had 12 strikeouts in 7 innings worked. Skeens leads the nation in strikeouts. He's got 71, and Doug Thompson yesterday was pointing out the SEC and LSU single-season record from Ben McDonald of over 200 strikeouts could possibly be in jeopardy here with Skeens. He is allowing per 9 innings just over 3.3 strikeouts per 9 innings is Skeens. He's nationally number 2 in ERA at .72 and has a WHIP of .56, which I got no idea what that means. He's also got 5 wins on the season. The point of the story is that Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in the country, and Dylan Cruz is the best position player in the country. And this week they were named the National Players of the Week by Collegiate Baseball Newspaper, which is crazy because newspapers are dead.
Well, baseball.
Collegiate baseball.
Well, baseball and newspapers go hand in hand, right?
Sure.
They're going to die together. When their cold, dead hands will be a writer with a baseball almanac and a newspaper just going into the grave. Like, look at this pencil. Look at this ink under my fingers. Me and Tom Verducci are here hand in hand.
I have ink on the side of my hand.
Yeah.
Peter Gammons.
Peter Gammons. Mom, I'm done with my segment. Well, if you had to guess what WHIP is, what would your guess be?
Golly, Lord, I don't even know what I would get. Like, so that stands for what it is?
It's an acronym.
Yeah, sure.
Welcome to class.
So it's a pitching stat.
Yeah.
Obviously. WHIP. Stu, you got any idea here? Innings pitched would be my last.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, we're working backwards.
Yeah, we're working backwards here. Innings pitched would be my last 2 IP.
What else are pitchers afraid of?
Wins and hits?
Walks and hits.
Walks and hits, Jordy. Well, that's bad. That's pretty embarrassing.
You were almost there. 3 out of 4. I'll
Walks,
give you.
hits, innings pitched.
Yeah,
Right?
off to the 3rd grade.
Yeah.
We're on the Billy Madison class.
So walks, hits, innings pitched. Mm-hmm. And Skeens is at .56. So that's
good.
Well, obviously.
Walks,
so that's how many walks and hits
he's giving up
per innings pitched.
He's giving up half a hit and a half a walk combined. So that's pretty good. That means somebody's getting on base. He's striking out a ton of people.
And as for Cruz's numbers, I mean, Cruz, it's almost like it is like video games. I mean, the numbers. As we said last week, he batted .625. He was 10 for 16 in 4 games with 4 home runs, 9 ribbies, and 9 runs alone last week. He homered once in each of the 4 games that LSU played.
I'm very aware.
Last weekend. In the
kill
Tigers series versus Arkansas, Cruz hit .615 as he was 8 of 13, 3 home runs, 7 ribbies, 7 runs. He had an on-base percentage of .667 and a slugging percentage. How do you say slugging? Would it be like 1.3? I mean, it's 1.308 is the slugging percentage.
That sounds good.
I mean, you're around all those baseball guys. They don't teach you this stuff?
I mean, they talk more about the game, not the numbers behind the game. You think Mikey was in there crunching numbers? No. You think Jared was in there crunching numbers?
I mean, I'm just reading these numbers because they're so silly. You know, I mean, he leads the nation. His batting average right now is .531.
Now, batting average, I know.
He scored 46 times, and he's number 2 in the nation with slugging percentage. I mean, it's just Cruz. They're talking about him like the best that ever has come through here.
There is conversation of
people are like dead serious.
Yeah, no, it's not. There's no hyperbole around him being the best player to ever put on an LSU baseball uniform, which is crazy to say. You would never. And then it's unfortunate for Kling because they keep comparing him. Like even we had Ronnie Rance on Sunday, and he's like, Paxton Kling is Dylan Cruz 2.0, because he kind of did the same thing where you're first round pick material, you avoid going to the draft and come to college, and now he's in this mold. But there might not be another Dylan Cruz. You don't see it very often. Who would you compare him to that you saw early on, like in the early 90s, 2000s, where there's these monster names in LSU lore where, oh, you're not going to be able to get up on that Mount Rushmore. Dylan Cruz is carving out his own statue.
It's incredible to see what he's doing at a school with so much history and so much respect as far as baseball goes. I grew up watching Todd Walker, during that same period. Russ Johnson was here. Jason Williams was coming through here. Later you saw guys like Mike Fontenot who came through here. Eddie Furness was around when we were kids. I mean, the names, Ben McDonald obviously was the first to really be the household name of LSU baseball, at least locally within the state. And these are titans. These are, Mount Rushmore type faces that you never thought would ever be in jeopardy of just kind of being pushed aside. Todd Walker from my generation, in my era, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Walker did things that, was crazy. Jamar Kane's ready to go. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. We'll have LSU defensive line coach Jamar Kane, former LSU defensive line coach and new Denver Broncos coach Jamar Kane next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college, for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculottashow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, powered, built every day by RMB Builders. Check them out on Instagram. All right, let's get up to Denver, one of our favorites, man. Only a year here in Baton Rouge, but made a huge impact during his time with LSU football, and that is former LSU defensive line coach, it's weird to say, Jamar Kane, who has now been hired as the Denver Broncos pass rushing. Jamar Kane has been hired as the pass rush specialist coach for the Denver Broncos coming up here for year one for Sean Payton, and we join him now up in Denver. Coach, good morning. How are you?
What's going on, Jordy? How you all doing this morning?
Doing good, man. It is. I know your life has been a whirlwind over the last 72 hours. Can you wrap it up for me? What has life been like for you over the last couple of days?
Man, just tying up loose ends at LSU. Phone hasn't stopped ringing. Family, you know what I mean? Dealing with my
Sure.
wife and kids and trying to get a flight here and trying to start work here, and it just hasn't stopped. You
Seems
know
a
what I
lot
mean?
easier
So
to stay.
it's fun. It's fun, but it hasn't stopped.
How difficult of a decision?
Very difficult. Like it came down to the last hour. Put it like that. Like it was very, very difficult just because the relationship with those guys in the room, and I've got so much respect for Coach Kelly and what he's doing there. And those two parts made it very hard because I truly believe in what Coach is doing, and he's a good man, and he believed in me, gave me an opportunity, brought a West Coast guy to the South, and never micromanaged me and just allowed me to be me and never judged. And I couldn't say more about that. And then to have those players, like, I know kids were like, Mason, those guys have had different D-line coaches, and I wanted to be a consistent part in their lives. And that's what made it tough. And then the Deshaun Womax and Jackson Howards of the world, guys, those guys became like my children, recruiting them for 2 or 3 years. So it came down to the last hour, like for real.
What was your exit meeting like with Coach Kelly? I know you have a ton of respect for him, and vice versa.
Oh man, it was tough, man. It was tough, but he understood, and he understood that, it was just me and him, and he came to my office, and we just had a great conversation. But he understood where I was coming from. It just the stars aligned with Coach Payton, new ownership, Denver Broncos, living in Denver, on the front end of everything. It just kind of stars aligned, So he was really excited for me. He wanted me to stay, but he was really excited for me. I think when you have a boss that's excited for you, not upset at you, it makes it easier.
Tell me about the room you leave behind. Jacoby and Guillory had an emotional press conference meeting with the media on Saturday when he caught the news that you were moving on. There was obviously a special connection between you and those guys.
Yeah, man. That Saturday meeting when I told them right before practice that was tough. Obviously, I shedded a tear, and some of the guys were crying, but it was an intimate conversation, and it was a heart feeling that came straight from the heart. The conversation, and I've poured into these kids every single day since I've set foot in Baton Rouge, and I think they bought into it, and we became closer and closer. But it was an intimate conversation. Then when I went out on the field, it's like wildfire in the locker room. So I get out to I'll get out in the field, and all the players are coming up to me and giving me hugs, telling me congratulations. Greg Brooks yelled at me. He's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I'm like, "Greg, I had to tell the D-line first." You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't walk to the DB room.
You're on the list.
Yeah. Don't worry, Greg. I was going to get to you, And then, Harold comes up to me like, "Man, what are you doing?" I'm like, you guys know how Harold talks. So,
yeah, right. We'll be drafting you in 2 years.
Yes, don't you worry about that. And then, after practice was the tough part because, we probably had our best practice. Those boys were rolling. After practice, the last break, and, Tank came over and hugged me and started crying, and it was tough.
Yeah. Coach, LSU's got a lot of momentum right now. Did y'all feel that in the building? I mean, there's a lot of people with high expectation for the Tigers next season.
Yeah, I think, obviously, especially coming off that 10-4 season, like you can feel the energy in the room. You can feel in the building, you can feel the expectations. It's just a sense of urgency to get some stuff done around there this year. And I have high hopes, and I want to be part of the train. Like that was another part of it. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like
absolutely.
You want to be part of the train. Like, dude, you put 18 years into college, and to see you finally have a team that can make a run, a legit run, and you walk away from it like, boy, but I'll be so happy once they make their run.
So you jump off of a train that is riding a ton of momentum, which feels like towards a successful season, onto another train in the NFL that is heading down the same path. The Denver Broncos feel like their stock is on the rise. What an exciting time to be a part of what Coach Payton has going on. How did this all come about?
Me and Vance Joseph just has a really good relationship. That's the defensive coordinator, and just been knowing him since I was at Arizona State, and he was at the university. He was at Arizona Cardinals, and just talking, and gave me a call actually when I was on spring break, and asked me if I'd be interested in the specialty position. And we had a long talk, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's worth a try. And at first I was like, yeah, and then I thought about it, and I was just like, no. I was actually in Arizona on spring break, and he was in Arizona, and he called me. It was crazy. I'm like, dude, I'm in Chandler. He's like, I'm in Scottsdale. I was like, that's crazy. But anyways,
Like a tea time.
yeah. So he and I talked, and at first I wasn't interested. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, so I called Coach Kelly and, the proper people. They said, man, you might want to take a look. I mean, that sounds like a good deal. And my wife said, man, you might want to take a look. So ended up catching the flight, coming down there and seeing it, and just kind of felt right, and met with Sean Payton, the general manager, everybody, and it just felt good. You walk in the building and you just like, oh, I belong.
Yeah.
I never had that. I had that feeling from the minute I stepped foot in the building. So it was good. And then meeting with the defensive staff, the energy in that room, and seeing that I can add to it. And, the staff texted me after I left, like, hey, you're going to come be a part. You're going to come be a part. And everybody was super cool. And they wanted me, not to say I wasn't wanted at LSU, but to hear those guys on that staff at Denver texting me, talking about, hey, we want you to come help us out, come help us build. So that was good. And then, after it got announced, to hear a couple of the Broncos who I've coached call me, like, so excited. So that was cool.
Got to be a cool time for Nick Benito, Benito, the former standout at Oklahoma.
Yeah, man, Nick is my boy, man. He one of the first phone calls I got was from him and his dad Vince, and they were so excited. So I'm like, all right, Nick, we gotta get to work now. You know how we get down. So he started laughing. Like, yeah, I know what's coming. So it was.
What do you expect from Mason Smith this season?
He's so ready. He's chomping at the bit, man. He's so ready. So I just think it's going to be a really good group, man. Collective group. There's depth in there. There's strength in there. There's some youth that is developing. I think it's going to be a really good group, man. Between, there's going to be guys like Quincy Wiggins who's going to surprise the hell out of all you guys. That's super developing. There's going to be a guy take away the top names, but like a Jordan Jefferson or a Tank that are going to be really good. Like, it's going to be a fun group. And Savion finally is coming into his own. Like, don't worry about the big names. Like, it's the other ones that are going to surprise the hell out of you. It's like, oh, wow. Okay. So that's what I'm excited about.
That's great to hear. Bro, you left a mark on Baton Rouge in 1 year, man. Excited for what's going on in your life and the time that you were here, the friendship that we were able to gain. I'm looking forward for you to get back down here. We got some crawfish that we're going to boil up, and looking forward to it, man. Go Broncos.
Man, I'm so thankful to cross paths with you guys, man. You've become a really good friend, man, a lifelong friend. BR's become home. My family's still there, and they're just hanging out, and I'll be back and forth, but you guys are family, so I'm thankful.
Enjoy the first day, bro. This has got to be a cool day. First day of school, man. The new kid.
Got my clothes all laid out like the first day, man.
New polo. Didn't sleep last night. Excited, man.
I tried my clothes on and everything last night. Make sure they look good.
Go get them, bro. Proud of you, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, homie.
Right,
Broncos country. Let's ride.
There he is, Jamar Kane, the pass rush specialist for the Denver Broncos. Man, I know that was a tough decision for him.
You could hear it in his voice.
Yeah. Look, he FaceTimed me on Saturday, and it was as the news was kind of breaking, and I was reading it, and he FaceTimed me, and he was like, what you hearing? And I'm like, man, I'm hearing you're gone. He was like, man. And right then you could see it. He even teared up. He was so fresh. As he was like calling people and letting people know, it was still, he was like, man, this was such a tough decision because of all the things that he just said, like that Baton Rouge made an impact on him. He talked so highly. I would tell you, what he just said publicly about Brian Kelly, he said even more privately. What Coach Kelly has going on in the, really the program that he is building and the feeling that he is providing for guys like Jamar Kane and the players in the program, it is a winning atmosphere. It's attracting people like Cain and like successful coaches and players that are coming through here. But he had such good things to say about his time here at LSU and Brian Kelly and Scott Woodward and the entire organization really for taking care of him and, giving him an opportunity. And, I remember talking to Jamar Kane for the first time here when we were doing the assistant interview tour last offseason. And, we were mentioning what it's like to have the LSU defensive line coach on your business card, right? And think about what, the attention that brings. I mean, it's a lot like having the LSU defensive backs coach on your card. Think how much respect Corey Raymond had when his time was leading that group here in Baton Rouge, right? Think about the people that have gotten opportunities from coaching the defensive line. Bo Davis is a guy that his name keeps popping up. I mean, he started his career as the defensive line coach at LSU, right? And look where his career has taken him. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity. It comes with great exposure. You're able to coach, potential first-round picks like Cain did and B.J. Ojulari, guys like Mason Smith. Who knows what Mekhi Wingo is going to do at the next level? Guys like Savion Smith, who he brought up, and on down the line. But I mean, it's someone who really recruited at a high level for LSU, developed his group, and made a great rapport with his players, the community, and moves on to the next stop. I mean, that's kind of how coaching works. That's Jamar Kane's 42 years old. I mean, if you look at his resume, he's never been anywhere longer than 3 years. I mean, it's just it's a continuous stepping, ladder that you're trying to climb. Ultimately, for these guys, I mean, like Cain said, he thought he was a lifelong college coach. His phone rings over spring break, and a relationship that he's made within the industry asks him if he'd ever considered coaching in the NFL, and he's like, yeah, maybe, and then he called him back and was like, nah, never mind, I'm not going to do it, and then he was talked into it. I mean, it's kind of the life of these coaches, but the higher that you can, coach yourself up and give yourself opportunity, like being LSU's defensive line coach, the more exposure that you have, and the next thing you know, you're on, one of the hottest brands in the NFL right now. I mean, you look around Denver, there's a lot of expectation for Denver to be very much improved under Sean Payton, even in the division that they play in. I mean, that AFC West division of Patrick Mahomes and why can't I think of the name? Justin Herbert. You've got
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Kyler Murray is in that. No, not Kyler Murray. No, who am I missing?
Russell Wilson.
That'll be his. Peyton is Russell Wilson.
Right. Russell Wilson is Peyton.
KC, Denver, Vegas, San Diego Chargers.
Kansas. Oh, you're talking about San Francisco, right?
No, San
Francisco's in the NFC West.
Yeah.
And that's Arizona.
Arizona, Seattle,
yeah.
LA Rams.
Yep, that's the 4 now.
Oh, I guess you're Stafford, I guess, is the name that you'd be missing. Is that who you're thinking?
No, he's talking about the
AFC
Broncos
West.
Division.
Broncos,
Vegas, Chiefs,
KC,
Vegas, and
San Diego. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah, you named them all.
4.
Yeah.
That's why you had me grasping at straws. I think we got them all. Garoppolo. It would have been Carr, but he comes to New Orleans.
Jimmy
but
G.
You claim him when you claim him. But if you're
always claim him.
If you're Jamar,
See what the porn industry said about him out in Vegas?
yeah,
Free sex for life.
Free sex for life, Bunny Ranch.
I mean, Jimmy G be a Raider for life.
I mean, we talked about Howard Stern the last time I was here. That's also a show that was constantly on the television. The Bunny Ranch with the old boy. I think he went to jail or died.
He had to die.
I think he died.
I mean, his lifestyle in the early, the late 90s.
These early 2000s.
It was made for a heart attack.
Sex and cocaine. How is it?
Hookers and blow?
Yeah, he was
on television?
He was like 45 and he looked 75.
I mean,
He's
he
like,
looked
I'm done.
dead.
He was bald and had just look the top of my head. But if you're Jamar Kane, I mean, this is the pinnacle, right? Like, even if you're not not entitled, but to get a job like this where you feel vested, you're good.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you don't have to go out and recruit.
I would say yes. I mean, I think that's definitely something that's appealing to those guys, especially a lifer like Cain who's been doing it for 20 years. I mean, one thing. I mean, Joe Brady's never coming back to college. I'm telling you, Brady was so spooked by recruiting. And in the offseason in the NFL, there's one that actually exists. I mean, now in college football, there's no offseason. There really is not. I mean, there's really not. I mean, with the new recruiting rules, with the new recruiting dates, with the new recruiting windows, with the season being extended, with more games put on the schedule. I mean, it's just it's a 47, 48 week a year job. In the NFL, I mean, it's you can work for
School
7
teacher.
months. Yeah, I mean, it's you have a legitimate off season, and especially in a program like Sean Payton's, who's a veteran coach who puts a ton of trust into his staff. I mean, he goes out and he hires the best staff because he gives them a ton of responsibility. I mean, Joe Brady used to tell us, he was like, I mean, one thing that we loved about working for Peyton was that he delegated, everybody knew their role, knew their position, and he gave you off time. But when it was time to work, like, there was no negotiation, like, there was no discussion. People were at work. I mean, like, they had bunk beds built in the facility at the Saints training facility on Airline Highway. Brady told T-Bob and I one day when we went to lunch with him that Drew Brees actually built the bunk beds for the coaches. Like, brought in, like, this master carpenter. Like, master carpenter had these, like, bunk beds, like, custom made for these guys.
Joseph himself.
So, I mean, like, they would work literally. I mean, he said, like, they would light the candle for, like, 18, 19 hours a day. They'd, like, shuffle into these bunk beds, all just crash, set the alarm, and, Peyton would come in the next day at, like, 6 in the morning. He'd be like, all right, boys, what did we get done yesterday?
Show me your homework.
What have you been doing in the bunker, boys?
Absolutely. Like, I mean, but he also, like, when it's time to take off, go play, go have fun, get out of here, go spend time with your family.
Scottsdale.
Absolutely. So, I think that the schedule for the NFL has become more appealing, but the pay in college has become more appealing for these guys, right? I mean, it's kind of, for a guy like Jamar Kane, who's, he's made some cash over the last couple of years. His stint at Arizona State, his time at Oklahoma, his one season at LSU. I mean, a nice little lick, right? Got a little cash tucked away now. Yeah. Now you don't, you get a call from Sean Payton where you're on his staff, and potentially if they perform, you either get elevated within his program or somebody else finds you, and the next thing, you're a defensive line coach in the NFL, and I mean, it's a whole new life. So, congratulations to Jamar Kane. He's a great dude, man. And I don't think that they'll have any problem replacing him. I don't think there'll be any problem on finding interest for that job. We've already started to see some names pop to the forefront here, and I really think that Bo Davis is the name to really keep your eyes on over in Austin, as he is the Texas defensive line coach under Steve Sarkisian right now. And
we see how Steve treats his staff and players and anybody that works for the program.
What's this go back to? The monkey guy?
No, yeah. I mean, that guy got to keep his job. No, the bowl game, whatever he was trying to, like, the poor game day operations guy that was trying to, like, hold him back.
Oh, when he, like, pushes the guy out the way.
I mean, that guy doesn't even work for Texas. Imagine if you're, I mean, that guy's on
Sark
edge.
had the shades on.
Yeah.
Don't you can touch me.
Yeah, whiskey was hot on that breath.
Yes. All right, Sark.
Yeah, Jamal.
Be cool.
We cool. Like, Bo Davis, I think he worked under Frank Wilson, right, at UTSA?
Yeah.
Wasn't he there for a year? Yeah.
Well, he got into a little bit of trouble at Alabama, as I think he was a fall guy.
Oh.
I think he was.
Alabama had recruiting violations.
He had to take the axe for
no such thing as wrong place, wrong time
for the crew, and so he had to kind of like shuffle out of there for a little bit. And,
Nick was like, "Go down to Texas.
Like, call Frank Wilson.
I can get you a job.
Yeah,
right.
But you got to go.
Can't work here."
But since then, all good around Bo Davis, former LSU player. He's a great recruiter, and obviously, he's a really good defensive line coach. I think he is kind of the leader on who to watch out for as far as replacing Jamar Kane goes. All right, so LSU women's basketball is gearing up for their Final Four run here, as they found out last night that they will be taking on Virginia Tech. The other side, South Carolina. South Carolina got tested last night a little bit against Maryland.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, and they won by 11. But, you know, I mean, that's a closer score than we're used to seeing with this South Carolina team. Obviously, the South Carolina ladies squad is the overwhelming favorite here as this tournament shifts to Dallas for the Final Four. But LSU and Iowa and Virginia Tech will be the other three teams that will round out the field here, as South Carolina, of course, the fourth team, has stamped their ticket after last night's win over Maryland. Iowa's the other squad who was is in the field, and then Virginia Tech was the final team last night to get to Dallas. So LSU will take on Virginia Tech. Iowa will take on South Carolina. The winners will advance to the national championship game. And as we said, this is very much accelerated for what people imagined when Kim Mulkey took the job just over 2 years ago, right? I mean, you know, to have LSU back in a Final Four for the first time in 15 years is, I think, definitely an overachievement, even by the standards of Mulkey. You know, many people say, is she surprised by this? I don't think she is deep down. I think publicly she says that she is, just to make sure and keep expectations and standard, you know, not as high as some people want to make them out to be. But I think internally she really had expectation that she was going to turn this thing around real quick with the new age recruiting styles like the transfer portal, and obviously NIL, which the women's basketball program here has embraced wholeheartedly. You know, you really have an opportunity to turn it around real quick. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it both before this and after this. You know, I mean, the rules being changed, where you could possibly, you know, I mean, turn a team into a winner pretty quickly after getting a job. But now, I mean, you can really do it. Look at Kansas State basketball. You know, I mean, that's almost kind of why the further you get away from LSU men's basketball, why you're like, where this is, they do have some red flags, right? I mean, and, you know, from a recruiting standpoint, you've not heard a lot of news here lately.
Well, we jumped the gun with LSU football under Brian Kelly in the first year, where we were wondering where the recruits were going to come from. So I guess with McMahon, with the contract that he has, you just have to give him time and let him build the program his way, because it's become the opposite of what everybody else in the building is doing, right? You see Kim Mulkey hit the ground running. You see Jay Johnson hit the ground sprinting. You see Brian Kelly hit the ground sprinting. And then Matt McMahon is the one that feels a little bit lost in the shuffle. But coming from what, I guess he had the hardest gig of all of them, I would imagine. Whenever you look at what was left before him and how it had to be, I guess he had to tread lightly in his first year, because you don't know what are you pitching.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from Kelly's standpoint, I think you're pitching the obvious. I think you're pitching the
LSU
SEC,
football is
LSU
easy.
football.
No, I'm talking about for McMahon, whenever, obviously, Will Wade, the way that the program was handled and the way that the whole job scenario went down, LSU was kind of in the ether. You don't know if you're going to get hit with, you know, any kind of show cause, any kind of penalties. So what are you selling when it comes to LSU basketball? That's why McMahon has the hardest job of all with the rebuilds. But then you see Missouri's able to do it in year one.
Sure. No, there are examples that you know, are very similar to LSU that have success stories. I think that Matt McMahon is dealing with, he's just dealing
more than
with
basketball.
A severe uphill climb, right? I mean, we talked about it last week. You know, the NIL and the collective that has been put together in conjunction with LSU athletics. You see a lot of this, the spots that are running with players endorsing, you know, this group and this push and this collective group, urging, you know, for donations and people to make money and to apply money towards it. You know, at what point does it run out, right? I mean, if you look on these spots, the majority of the teams, the majority of the players, the majority of the voices and faces that you're seeing on these spots are football players, right? I mean, that's what moves the meter. That's what puts over 100,000 into one place on a Saturday. So that's what they're going to try and put in front of your face, that they believe that is relatable first and foremost, so they can try and collect as much money as possible. So the majority of the cash is going to go to football, right? I mean, like off the top, football is almost going to have, carte blanche to what they want out of it, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know how it's breaking down, and I know that they have a lot of smart people that are overseeing it, distributing the funds to it, and making sure that financially it stays fit. But however the pie is cut, football is going to eat the largest slice by leaps and bounds, right? After that, it's going to be a real fight to see who can get a piece of it. And it feels as if baseball is really a high priority, or at least there's relationships within the baseball community that LSU is relevant within NIL standards. And then women's basketball, Kim Mulkey, as we said, she's not just going to sit around and allow, money to come in and her not get a piece of it. And I'm not saying that Matt McMahon is doing that. Like, he's just saying we can't, I think he's fighting for it. But, as the totem pole goes, or as the priorities are set, McMahon and LSU basketball, men's basketball, feel very much like an outside looking in example to the model. I mean, it's just it's a tough spot, man. The more you think about it, the more you really. I mean, I don't feel sorry for anyone, because it's not that it's not that dire, but it's just you look at it as if, man, that is a hell of a task.
I don't even know where you start.
I don't either.
Caleb Love's in the portal from North Carolina.
I mean, Coach, you really think that LSU
Hey, look.
basketball has a chance? I'm with you.
Oh, dude,
You got to put the fillers out there.
You have to recruit him.
You
You
got
have to recruit him. You have to throw everything you can at him. But
you want players?
What's the finalist for Caleb Love?
He doesn't have any. He just won the portal yesterday.
Who would, if you were to guess?
Kansas,
Michigan State, probably.
Kentucky,
yeah.
LSU ain't on that list.
Where LSU? Remember when LSU was on those lists, and even people were like, "It's
shit.
Kentucky, Michigan, Cal,
And
Oklahoma
LSU.
State, and LSU."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And LSU might be the front runner.
Yeah, like LSU, end up getting them. Now it's not happening.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just it's not.
Is it possible to have all of those programs be successful at once? Have you ever? I guess Florida, maybe in its heyday, had the closest you would see, but I don't know how good their baseball team was. Whenever you get down to can you have a good baseball team, football team, women's basketball team, and men's basketball team, all that are competing for national championships?
1986, I believe, football won the SEC. Men's basketball went to the Final Four, and that was Skip's first year going to Omaha.
Oh. What was LSU football?
They won the SEC.
Won the SEC?
Mm-hmm.
And then Skip's first year.
That wasn't his first year, but that was the first year he went to Omaha.
Yeah.
And then 86 Final Four, they went to the Final Fours. That was like Don Red and them. That was like when they were the 11 seed and shocked the world.
So going back 30 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very rare. 2006, fast forward 20 years later, and both the men's and women's program were in the Final Four. Men's football was in the Sugar Bowl, dominating Notre Dame, and baseball was down.
Yeah, LSU baseball was on the gutter.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then fast forward 3 years later, LSU baseball wins a national championship, but there's no basketball to be found. LSU football is on the precipice of becoming great. It's hard for it all to link. I mean, you're asking for a lot, is basically what I'm saying, for it all to align at the same time. And so if you look at it from Scott Woodward's perspective, if I nailed 3 out of 4, I feel pretty good about myself.
I do. And look, I don't think that this is...
And it's not a hiring thing. It's just
No.
how can you allocate your resources like that?
Right. Because
Kim Mulkey's going to demand the world.
The success of Scott Woodward is undeniable. I mean, with who he has brought in, the leadership that he has shown, but he had an opportunity really to have them all rolling.
Yeah.
Right. He really did. I don't think that that's how he'll be judged. I think that ultimately he'll be judged as somebody who brought Brian Kelly in, who brought Kim Mulkey in, who
SEC
brought James
championship.
Johnson in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a definitely a bouquet of compliments on what Scott Woodward has accomplished here over the last couple of years. But LSU, from a basketball standpoint, is in a very, very dangerous place. Like, they're in a very dangerous spot where if they don't close one or two recruits and they can't get guys to come in here, coming off of a year where you finished bottom in the league, you spin into the abyss where, man, you get so far gone. Look at the attendance the last month of the season. I mean, what was there, 2,000 people there on senior night? I mean, I don't even know if there was 3,000 people that were there for the last home game.
You talking about men's?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, there might be more people at the send-off for LSU women's basketball today.
Yeah, you might find
I
more
would
people.
think without question. Like, I don't even think in the rain, like undeniable. Yeah. Like, I think that's.
Oh, Kim's getting something built right now. Where's the tents? Where's the triage? Like, we have to get this thing going, and I want music and fireworks and.
Fireworks.
Like, she wants a concert. And
Bring on the fireworks.
But whenever you have so many big personalities in the building, or so many people that are so keen on winning, at some point you allocate these resources and you look over and you're like, if you're not going to ask, you're not going to get anything.
Well, and look, I don't think that they're not asking. I really don't.
I don't think he knows what questions to ask.
Well, I just think that
where are we?
They've gotten down to such of the crumbs, like everything is all eaten up and everything's all accounted for. That it's just a very tough task, man. I really do not envy, and by look, by no means do I feel sorry for, but the task that Mac McMahon has is much different than a lot of people, especially that people are that are in rebuilding. He's leading a program that could be argued just is. And I don't really know if you could argue it. It's just not a top priority. It's just not. It's not a high concern. And I think there's some people that really believe within the athletic department that as long as the basketball program, stays out of the spotlight and stays out of trouble, then they're okay with the outcome. They're making so much money in football, and the SEC payouts are so huge that. If you can get 3 of the 4 major sports rolling like they have right now, maybe you just, count your blessings and keep it moving. I don't know.
But this is the time that you miss being relevant, right? Like whenever
the last month and a half.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Whenever you're just to even be in the tournament, that's when it gets exciting. Every year you felt like you were going to be at least. I don't think you ever thought. During Will Wade's tenure, you felt like you were going to win a national championship, but get us to the party. And it felt like it was a hell of a ride every time you got there. The pregame was so much fun. Then it's like, all right, let's go dance. And we didn't care what really happened when we got to the dance, but at least you knew that you had something to look forward to throughout the year. This feels like a monumental rebuild, and it's not fair to cast McMahon in the same light as Kim Mulkey because there's only one Kim Mulkey who can do that in 1 year's time.
Well, you can't judge McMahon really for a lot of what happened in year one. I think that a lot of what happens from here on out can be thrown at the feet of McMahon. But the situation is very rare. Like I said, they exist, and there's also scenarios that exist of this pumping out success. So we'll see, man. I think that. It's a very, very steep mountain that LSU men's basketball is climbing. It's a very, very tough task to go out there and sell what they have, just out on the market right now.
And I think it's fair to put him on a different timeline than everyone else.
Definitely. Well, I think that's what his contract says.
Exactly.
His contract says so. And until the NCAA comes out and rules, you're almost playing with a hand tied behind your back. Right, because there's so many easy ways for other schools to dirty recruit LSU right now. Like, really, are you going to go there? What happens if in the middle of the season they get hit with sanctions? You know, I mean, like it's easy where a guy's like, yeah, you're right. Let me just swipe this team off the list. You know, which is a really injustice to the current student athletes. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's disgusting how the NCAA can, you know, have their own timeline. Like there's not something set in place that policy says that a decision will be handed down within so many weeks, days, hours, whatever it is. But, you know, I mean, it's Russia. I mean, it's the NCAA. They do what they want. You know, I mean, it's not.
I mean, the decision's coming down from an arm of the NCAA that's been disbanded already. They're trying to get rid of it, but what's still left on their docket is LSU basketball. It's like, how are we going to get these people together?
It's weird. It's weird, man.
It's a shell company.
All right, we'll be back with hour 2. Katie is here. We'll bring her onto the set. We will continue our conversation here as the Jordy Culotta Show moves on here before hour 2. Brought to you by, as always, RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew. RMB Builders can custom design you a home. They can also get you into a home that you may be remodeling if you need some handiwork done around the house. Rhett is a specialist with his hands. RMB Builders on Instagram, social media, easy to find them. RMB, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew.
Know that part like Jesus the Carpenter.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done. Corrects done. Personal injury done. Workers' comp done. Truck wrecks done. Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
Hey, she's on her way up.
Hey, G, I got you something.
Hey, Coach. What do you think? Is this too much?
If you look good, you play good.
All right, then. Let's get it done.
Welcome back here to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and built by our friends over at Rhett Bourgeois R&B Builders. Also daily brought to you by our friends over at Katie's Restaurant. Remember Katie's, you can get in touch with them by logging online at katiesinmidcity.com, katiesinmidcity.com. Huge menu, great menu. They include St. Louis-style pizza, cold draft beer, and a great neighborhood bar that you can find over at Katie's, katiesinmidcity.com. Speaking of Katie, the Carpool Queen is here.
How's
Hey.
the restaurant business?
Our accountant refers to, when we talk about this account, Katie's, she refers to her as her. She.
Wait, what?
They.
Our accountant, like, refers to the restaurant Katie's Mid-City, like, did she get her invoice? A lot of people do that.
She thinks Katie's a person.
Yeah. Does she make good pizza? Everyone thinks that's a person.
Have we confirmed that she's not?
No, I think she is. I think there's a story. I feel like I read that on the back of the menu. Like, there is a Katie, right?
Francesca.
Has to be.
There has to be a Francesca, right?
How does she look?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Name
Francesca's
like
sexy name.
Sounds
right?
hot.
Exactly.
I do.
Yeah.
It sounds
And
foreign.
then it's Francesca by Katie's. And It's like,
okay.
I want to hear y'all.
Buy
story.
one,
I know,
get
what
one.
happened?
Yeah,
Little BOGO.
made
Katie's
this
not a
restaurant after a
sexy
couple of
name.
drinks.
2 for 1?
Francesca's like exotic.
2 for 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Francesca sounds like a French girl.
It does.
Yeah.
Francesca.
Sounds like she moved to New York
I'll
to
take
be
the
a model.
Francesca special.
And didn't make it.
What?
Follow me.
Come on home.
Sweet.
Sit on that couch there, right there
Yeah.
for me.
Scott, the real owner, is probably like, what the hell, y'all? What the hell?
You can't be a model, but you can run a restaurant. New Orleans is just like New York.
Ross Craft, Katie's is owned and run by a guy named Craig.
We know Ross. We're kidding. We're
Scott
kidding. We
Craig,
know
actually.
Scott Craig.
You're doing a great job,
We're
Ross.
joking. We're saying Scott's
Nothing
probably
gets by
annoyed
you.
with us right
Thank you,
now.
Ross.
Who's Katie then?
Who's on second?
He's probably texting right
What's
now.
on
Y'all
first?
stop.
Speaking of baseball, did you see this umpire, this little man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you put it up, Stu? Do you have it? I've watched it probably 50 times.
I thought this is a clear indicator of how disrespected these dudes are on the field and like how he let it get to him. These guys love when you fire back at them.
Like
if
how
you've ever
disrespectful umps
seen
are?
a good player official relationship, it's one that both of them yell for about 10 seconds and then they end up kind of standing next to one another and kind of talking it out. Basketball would be a great example just because there's no helmets, everything's in the open, you know what I mean? You can see
My mouth
everything
is your
very
mouth.
clearly. But think how many times superstars, not even really superstars, but players in the NBA have argued a foul, right? And the NBA players argue every time the whistle blows, right? I mean, there are players like Luka Doncic.
Oh my God, he's always.
It's almost like a skit.
Yeah.
It's almost like he makes
A layup.
He makes shots.
And he wants to foul.
And he bitches the entire time down the floor. Like I mean, like he'll make like an 8-foot jumper, not get touched, and like throw his hands down like he's getting. I mean, it's just like it's crazy.
Like, get back on D, bro.
Some guys, like those referees, they're like, shut up, right?
Yeah,
But I mean,
get back on defense.
some of them will have and get calls where, you know, you question it. You may yell. Hell, they may even curse at a referee. And the referee will snap right back on why they blew the whistle, why they made the call, why they did this. And that ends up being a very respectful player-official relationship. These baseball umpires, none of the players respect any of them. And it's because of this attitude to me, and just watching the limited baseball that I watch, Major League Baseball, right, in stretches. But if you watch them long enough, you're bound to see a confrontation between a player and an umpire, because it's just it's an emotional game. It's bang bang plays. It's still human element that are calling calling the outs, the strikes, and the balls, all of that stuff. And nobody has any respect for the officials. When they speak to them, they kind of cower down. They don't fire back at them. When they do, they just throw them out, a lot like this guy did. I mean, this was an embarrassing representation of really now governors of the game, right? I mean, like, you can tell this guy's probably young.
His uniform doesn't fit.
You know, I mean, he's very young, but still, like, if this is the precedent that you're setting for yourself, you know, like, you're done, dude.
But why? Who are they? Who are umpires? Why are they like this?
I don't know if umpires have to be full-time employees. I know that the big thing about the NFL was that they're not. I mean, there's too many baseball games for these guys not to be fully employed. I mean, they play 7 months a year.
I should know Angel Hernandez's name the way that I do. You know,
right? I mean, and there's always going
Jim
to be
Joyce.
one or two that you.
What kind
know.
of people are they? Do you know any personally?
I don't know major league umpires. I know like college basketball officials.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Is it
Jordy.
just a certain type of guy?
What kind of people
like,
are they?
You just lose it immediately. Short fuse type people, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of little. I think it's a lot of little man syndrome.
Yeah, has to be.
I think it's a lot of
respect me.
Please. A
Please.
lot of respect me, yeah, for sure.
The home life isn't great.
You know, don't
Clearly.
question me.
This guy.
You can't question me.
Yeah,
type.
respect my authority.
Yeah, like type stuff.
People that give out speeding tickets in neighborhoods.
Ah, yeah, it is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, get off my lawn, guy. Really?
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
totally. This is a neighborhood.
Last pick and pick up basketball type of guy.
Oh, and he wants to play so badly.
Yeah.
Like,
He'll take his ball.
He 100% played like high school baseball, maybe tore his ACL, and was like, if I would have gotten my break, you don't even know how.
If my coach didn't like
Oh
it.
no! And his wife married him because he thought he was like gonna be big time.
Right.
And now he's not.
And now I'm just.
And he's miserable.
Have you ever been into a major league umpire's room?
We're really this guy.
Into it, yes. Wrigley Field. At Wrigley Field.
It is a.
You talking about like an umpire's locker room?
Yes.
Yeah,
while they're in there.
Well, they have a place where they go
hang out.
And, you know, before the game. Like umpires don't get onto the field until almost right before, because they don't like to be ridiculed. And then if you see officials, as soon as the game, like the clock goes 0-0-0, they are sprinting out of there. Like they are. Like this. I mean, a lot of times in SEC stadiums,
they
they'll
get
have
escorted.
Like police escorts.
Yeah,
right?
You can't blame them.
I mean, especially if teams rush the field. And, I mean, there's been some scenarios that have gotten really, really bad.
I mean, that LSU Bama game, I was watching the rest. They were
absolutely.
We better make the right call
because
here.
they've read
Touchdown,
stories
let's
and heard
go.
stories of people getting like T-boned. You know what I mean? Like just like taking an open field shot,
and it could have got bad.
At an official.
He got me in the
You
ribs.
know what I mean? Like just
who did that? Throws the flag.
Latimer off the program. You know what I mean? Just,
Yo, that's the D-line ref right there. Let's jump him.
The line judge.
He's the one that made the call in the third quarter.
Did you not see the holding in the Blake Sims run?
I mean, like, that's got to be a scary, scary place for an official.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you are in the open. You are exposed,
Yes.
bro.
Let's get out of here.
Can you imagine a game-winning field goal in, like, LSU South end zone where you've got, or excuse me, like the north end zone? Because the officials' locker room is kind of like opposite of where the opposing team runs out. You know where the opposing team runs out? Like directly across the field would be the officials.
They got to go
locker
120.
room, so they've got to run.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So, I mean, like the length of the field.
Fellas, we got to get out of here.
You know what I mean? Like you're looking up at this thing, like thinking, if it goes through this crossbar, I gotta put my arms up and then put my head down and run as fast as I have probably in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, for a long stretch.
Fresh
You know
off
what
a
I
hip
mean? Like,
replacement.
I've got to run 100 yards for the first and like.
See him stretching before the kick. Like,
Absolutely.
Gotta go.
Like you're almost like pulling for the guy to miss it. You know?
Hey, you want to miss this? You know, we can get out of here quick.
Please make this not my fault.
But that's got to be a scary spot.
Not only
Yeah,
the
it
last
does.
call, imagine making a big call in a game. Like if you were the
No doubt.
like no call. If you're that guy and you just have to sit there and stew in it for not only the last 2
that's
minutes.
if you're gonna be an official, be an NFL official.
Yeah.
They're the most protected officiating crew on the planet.
You can make whatever
Behind the
call you
SEC.
want.
I'm not talking about that, but him having to sit there during the entire game knowing that how many does the Superdome hold? 70,000? 80,000? And he had to sit there for not only the last 2 minutes of that game, but overtime and just be like, all these people are looking at me.
How long
Like,
do you think?
they're not even watching the game anymore. They're wondering what I'm doing.
How long do you think Sean Payton looked at him? Just like,
Oh, and that's the other worst part of it.
Oh no, I mean like Peyton. That's when Peyton was in the he was in the corridor of the dome, like yelling at the officials. He had, I believe it was Dean Blandino at the time, who was the head of the NFL officiating group. He had him on the phone
after the game.
like he was wanting Blandino to put him back on the field. I mean, Peyton,
you got to restart this thing
Peyton
right
was
now.
in a state of rage that, I mean, people that were around him were like, he lost
He
it.
lost? I mean, I would have lost
I mean,
it
they were
too.
the best team in the league,
Yeah.
coach. I mean, like they were on track to win the Super Bowl.
I would have lost
And
it
it's
too.
the most blatant PI call in the history of the game. I mean, he tackled him.
He
did.
didn't turn his
I mean,
head. It didn't even look.
He
He didn't look for the ball at all.
I mean, I'm telling you, my son and I were at that game, and walking out of the dome that day, it was like The Walking Dead. It was like people had not even realized that they had lost. And then when we got in our car, I'll never forget, Bobby Hebert is on the radio pleading with the airport crew to not let the officials fly out.
Oh my God.
He's telling like them, bar the door. Like that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying on the radio.
That's terrifying.
I mean, it's terrifying.
Oh my
Like,
God.
Lock him in.
Like Jordan's like, what's happening, Dad? And I'm like,
Son,
They're about
shut
to-
up. Like, turning it up. I'm like, who that?
Let's go kill those refs.
I mean, getting out of there. You
Bobby
had to be like,
Abraham was like, bar the door. Don't let these bastards out of the city. They cost us a Super Bowl championship. Coach Payton wanted to kill him. We all let him leave. I mean, like, it was like, like people in the back, like, yeah, like,
Get his ass.
hell yeah, don't let him leave. I mean, like, it was nuts.
all flights are grounded.
It was nuts, man.
Oh, dude, I've told this story before, but my brother went with his buddy to that game, and after the game, like, he bought the tickets for me. He's like, yeah, I'll Venmo you after, whatever, no big deal. Pumped to get to go to the game. After the game, he goes, I ain't paying for that bullshit.
Oh my god.
He's like, never paid me.
Dude, it was freezing cold that day.
Oh,
it
miserable.
was freezing cold outside. I mean, like, it was abnormally cold for that late in January, and it felt weird when you got there. I remember thinking, like,
This is weird.
it was
This
just
is not
like, because if you remember, they beat the hell out of everybody that year.
Yeah.
Like, they were rolling people up.
Oh, that's
You know
what
I mean?
that was
Like,
the Chopper style year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Michael
Kamara, Mike
Thomas.
Thomas, dude. They were everywhere. I mean, it was just they were scoring in bunches. They had a really good defense at this point. I
Drew
mean,
Brees still had a little.
Brees, he wasn't quite done. You know
Not
what
quite
I mean?
dead
Like
yet.
he was still. He had the noodle arm, but he could still make throws.
Except for that one.
Yeah, the slant.
Slant.
The next
That
play
one.
was the Nola no call.
Mm-hmm.
The next play is the Nola no call. I mean,
He still thinks about that.
has to.
So can we play
Michael
this
Thomas
clip?
doesn't.
And
Oh,
go
yeah.
back to
Oh,
what
yeah.
we were talking
Well,
about.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
Randy Rosenberg. He was the home plate ump for the Phillies-Toronto
What a
game
name.
yesterday. And he just called a pitch clock violation on Craig Kimbrell, and then he asked for a new ball, which is standard procedure, right? He asked for a new baseball, right?
This moment, you know what? I screwed up.
My bad.
Yeah.
My
You
bad.
can kind of make it lighthearted and like turn around to the crowd and like kind of, you know what I mean? Like this spring training.
Yeah, that's the
You
stupidest
know what I
part
mean?
about
But you know
it.
what's probably happening in this guy's head? That how he is judged,
Yeah.
how he is graded, what his peers think of him. If he was to let his guard down and kind of make it a lighthearted moment between he and the player, it would almost be as if he was stabbing his crew in the back.
I guess so. That makes
Yeah, I mean
sense.
that's the feeling I get. I don't know this. I'm not
Yeah,
an umpire. I don't
but
know
it
any
makes
umpires.
sense.
But the relationship that exists. That's what I was trying to say. The relationship that exists between baseball players and umpires. It's so contentious. It's so. It's that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like you can't say my bad. Like, you know what
Right.
I mean? Like you can't just say my bad. Hey, hand me that ball real quick. I'll throw it back. I screwed up. You know what I mean? Like it was, and not only like the way he threw him out.
I
Like,
know.
Oh, automatic.
But like he had some like
Vitriol to it.
Like,
He was
dude,
ready.
Get out of here.
I mean, somebody
Yeah.
buy this guy a chick.
Yeah,
Exactly.
or
what
a
I mean?
drink.
Like, get this guy
He
a
needs
partner.
it. He needs it.
I mean, bro,
He
you
needs a
can't
lady
be this backed up. I mean, like,
Seems
what's
like it,
wrong
Coach.
with you, man?
It's been a while.
Third inning. I'm ready to toss
Jesus.
somebody. And,
Nobody wants you acting a fool like that. That's his problem.
but to your point, there's probably like when he got to the umpire's room or whatever, they're like, hell yeah, dude. Good for you. Like, way to get your first toss in.
Yeah, you
like,
think so?
Stick up, back the blue.
Yeah, bro.
Ew.
Fist pumps all over.
Yeah.
Like,
Got to respect yourself.
that wasn't
Go
cool.
Pokes. Looks like Jordy teeing up 8th graders when he was reffing CSAL games in Baton Rouge. I never teed up players.
Randy
coaches?
Lamont said
I
he
would
was
always
a
tee
high
up. If
school
I
ump.
teed up anybody, it would be coaches. And it took so much for me to tee somebody up because I knew what they were trying. Unless you were a blatant, like, name calling, throwing a temper tantrum. If it wasn't really about, if you thought the play was called a certain way and I thought it was called this way and you had good points in debate over it, I'd always listen. You know what I mean? But when it came to players, the only way I would tee players up is if, like, they continue, like, I would talk to them. You know what I mean? Like,
One more.
you know, like, what? Like, they call a foul. Like, yo, bro, don't show me up. Don't raise your hands. The reason why I called the foul is because you reached in. Well, no, I didn't. Do you know what a reach in is? You know what a reach? Do you know if you reach your arm around and reach into his say and touch him, that's a reach in?
Isn't that a reach around?
yeah.
Oh.
That's a
what
reach
old boy
in.
needs.
You know, I mean, you try and make. They're in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You try and, like, make them better out there, and you don't want them to get into high school still acting like that. There's great opportunities with the whistle and overseeing the game to be a great teacher even at the professional level, you don't have to be a teacher, but you can have a relationship with these guys where they respect you, where they know, hey man, I'm going to get this guy's best, right? Now, if I'm the Phillies, every time this guy shows up to the park, I got a little uneasy feeling to me. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's had it out for us in spring training. You know what I mean? And that's how athletes think. You know, and it's not pity me getting like poor pitiful. It's just I want to compete, and I don't want anybody to mess with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the Nola no call. Like, dude, just fix it. Like you're in the way of the game. You know, you're not allowing the best team to win. Not that this does that, but it creates an environment. And Stephen Miller's in here. And he is.
Yeah, he knows.
He's an official.
Yeah.
He's an umpire, and he's done that. But I mean, not that, but I mean, he's been in those situations where you have to control the environment. You have to control the game. You know, I mean, that's what your duty is as an official. You know, and whenever that is, whether the game is super calm and it's flowing, or you've got people charging out of the crowd and running onto the floor. I mean, at certain points, you got to make decisions to protect yourself, but your job and responsibility is to govern the game, to keep the game clean, to keep the game flowing, to keep the game respectful, to keep the game competitive, really and truly, to stay out of the way. You know, I mean, the worst thing an official can do, an umpire can do, that guy's on SportsCenter. You know, like that guy's on front page of .coms all over the world. I mean, the last thing you want to do is having a face with an official. Like, you don't want to know who they are.
Yeah.
You know, like a sign of a good official is the ones you don't know.
Right.
Like the ones that you look up and like they show you before, like on the Final Four coming up on Monday night, or championship Monday night, they will show you the resume of these officials. And odds are these are probably third, fourth, fifth time they've called Final Fours and championships. And you've probably not heard of two of them.
Right.
Right? And they just go do their job. They just duck in, duck out, you know, blow the whistle when it's supposed to be blown, make the call when it's supposed to be called, and get on to the next game. It's just the select few that
like
are in
Randy
it, like this guy. You know
we'll never forget his name.
Exactly.
Well,
Poor Randy.
Well, then you get put in a spot where you saw with San Diego State in the Elite Eight, where it comes down to I have to make this call, and people are like, oh, the way the flow of the game's going, whatever, you can't make that call in that situation. It's a foul. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I have to officiate the game at some point to where the rules are in place. Like, he did foul him, sends him to the line, and that's not the way you want to see the game end, because it feels like you're taking it out of the player's hands to an extent. But also, I can't let you just blatantly, you know, he grabbed his hip and he threw him off of whatever his shooting spot was. At any point in the game, that's a foul. I'm sorry, there's 0.2 seconds left. They have to do a job, essentially, at some point, and whether I was on one side or another, you know, gambling, whatever, but you still have to make the call. That's what they're there for. You don't want to see them influence the game in that way, but when it comes down to it, that's why they're there.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if he doesn't make the call, everybody on San Diego State side's going, did you not see him hook him?
Exactly.
Right.
And so he has to blow the whistle.
Well, did you not see the reach around?
I think that's
You're talking about the last call?
Yeah, for San Diego State, that, you know, they won by 1 point, sends them to the line, and obviously there's still high drama there because you put a guy on the line that has to make 2 free throws, and you're staring up at a clock that says, shit, if I miss both of these, I'm going to be the face of the news.
You know, there's two foods for thought there, in the sense of you call the game like the game has been called for 38 minutes up to that point, or do you call letter of the law and call every foul like they're supposed to be called? And, you know, I think that there really is, there's two
nuance
schools.
to it.
There's two ways of getting there. There's two reasonings and there's two sides to it. And I understand Clark Kellogg and Charles Barkley were debating this after that game intensely, right? On Clark Kellogg was saying that you have to make the call. It's a foul 10 out of 10 times, no matter if there's 2 seconds left or if there's 20 minutes left.
Right.
You still have to make the call. And Charles Barkley saying, I totally disagree. That's not correct. The game has been called one way for 38 and a half minutes. You get to this part in the game and you start calling this. If this guy makes this move 3 minutes ago, he gets away with it. right, is what he's saying. And I see it. And as an official who's been in a position, not at that level by any means, but in games that, you set a standard for it early on, and in some of those discussions that you're having with players on the floor, you're telling them, this is how the game's going to be called today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they'll look at you like, what? You're like, no, we're calling that today.
Mm-hmm.
That's a blocking foul today. Or some games where you've got two big men down there that are dominant in the game, and you don't want them to have their third, fourth, and fifth foul within the first half or early in the second half. You let them know early on, hey, I'm going to let you get away with a little bit something today. Y'all can play a little bit more physical. So don't be looking at me for every call.
Mm-hmm.
Just like down there, I'm not going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let y'all duke it out. We're going to find out who's better. If it gets real physical, we'll make sure and call the fouls, but we're going to let you play today.
Yeah.
And, a lot of them are like, okay, all right. I appreciate that. And I've had dads come to me after the game and tell me, I appreciate the way you officiate our son, just by talking to them on the floor. But then I've also had coaches like, don't talk to my players.
Yeah, I bet.
There's
Yeah, that's a sticky position
it is.
to be in.
It is.
Real sticky.
It is. The younger they are, the more the coaches are open to allow you to kind of coach them on the floor, kind of teach them like, hey, man, that's maybe that's the difference between the block and the charge. But the older they get, the more protective, the more
makes sense.
They want to just, you do your job, we'll do our type of stuff. So there's all different ways to it, man. There is. I really do see both sides. In the position when I was in it, I would call the game like it was set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would let the game be set, and that's how we were calling it until the end. And a lot of times in those types of games, it comes down to a bang-bang play in the last 10 seconds because that's how the game's been played. And in the last 10 seconds, that's much more highlighted than what it was with 5 minutes left.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the kid's on the ground, and you were yelling at me to call the foul at the 3.5 minute mark, and I didn't. So I'm not going to call the foul at the 3 second mark.
Sure.
And I think that's, to me, that's the sign of good. Consistency is what I look for in my restaurants. Consistency is I look for the service industry. Consistency would be what I would say is good officiating.
Yeah.
Every time you show up, I know what I'm getting. Right? Like, you're going to either let me play or you're going to, be a stickler. At least I know, like, hey, man, we can't get away with anything today.
Yeah.
And hockey leagues on the whistle.
Keep your shirt tucked in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this guy, he's on us for everything.
Randy Rosenberg.
Those are the worst type of refs.
Respect
the worst.
The game.
Like, bro, I've been playing for the last 25 minutes. My jersey's not tucked in.
We need you to take that rubber band off before we get this game.
Oh, my God.
Don't worry about something else.
Your sleeve is the same color as your uniform. Right. All right, bro.
All right, coach.
Yeah.
What's the point of those kind of things, though?
Like I saw an official at a 6th grade basketball game this year. He's walking down the floor, and we're at a gym where, like, I'm telling you, like, it's like you and the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, again, as an official, you have to understand, when you're on that side of the floor, you're 2 feet away from the crowd. And what 75% of the crowd, even at 6th grade games, want to do is get your attention.
Right.
They want you to know what I think about you.
And
you know
how much
I mean?
I hate you.
And as soon as they engage, as soon as you're like, huh? You're dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead. So this official is going down. He's going, and like a dad is sitting on the front row. Not me. Like, it was not me. I'm sitting 2 rows above him. And the dad is like, I mean,
it has been me.
No doubt about it.
Not today.
But the dad is like, call the game. Like he's fouling him down there. Call the game. And the guy's like, I'll call the game. You sit there and listen. And as he's talking, like, the game is going on. You know what I mean? Like, the game's like happening down here, and he's like going back and forth with the crowd member, and even like the guy's wife's like, watch the game. Yeah, call the game. Like, call the game.
Doesn't even know what's going on.
Doesn't even know what's going on. Yeah, right. Like, she's holding the camera, like filming. Like,
look at him, he's having a conversation. Yeah, right. Do a little crowd work.
And the guy, and the referee goes, the referee tells the guy, shut up. And the guy goes, no, you shut up. And the referee goes, throws him out, tells the guy at the scores table, we're not bouncing the ball again until this guy gets out of here. And if you don't make him leave, we're leaving. And I'm like, I wanted to so bad step out there and be like, bro, you're running this place.
Right.
And you're going to have rabbit ears like this? First off, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, dude, what are you doing?
I came here
are you
ready
really
for
going
this.
to... This is on you. Like, I wanted, like, dude, this is on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the guy didn't say anything. You told the guy to shut up. You know, what do you think he's going to say back to you? Don't tell him to shut up. You don't think he's going to say something back to you?
Open the door and walk right through it.
It was so discouraging, you know,
Yeah.
to see the insecurity of these guys of just the rabbit ears and listen and like not. You took the glove away. Like, no, I didn't, bro. I thought you threw the ball back. You know what I mean? Like,
I was just looking for the ball, man.
you know what I mean? Like throws him out of there, throws him out of the game. It's like these guys, man. It's just they run the game.
Yeah, clearly.
They run the game, and if you know, like that's who's running it. You know, a little short, insecure dude
high
that
school
you know what I
district
mean.
All
Is
American.
just still pissed off about something.
Yeah.
That he either didn't get or got that he didn't like. You know what I mean? Like something happened to him where he's playing it out.
That's why a lot of like former players are clamoring for players to be officials. They want to see people that have been in those spots on the court or on the field, as opposed to people that grew up officiating or worked their way up. They want people that understand the nuances of whether it be basketball, baseball, football, of what's allowed and what's not allowed. You know, to where it's not me versus you. It's like it's a collaborative effort a little bit to where, look, I understand what you're going through. I've been there. I've been in that spot.
Absolutely.
And instead, it's this me versus you mentality that happens in baseball, where baseball is the worst of them all. It is big.
It's just so contentious.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's such a us versus you.
Right.
You know, it's like, dude, it doesn't have to be like this.
Especially with all the new rules in
You know,
baseball.
and you
it gives
can
them
see
more
the
power.
way that the NFL is trying to break that down. They've almost become too chummy. You know what I mean? Like they got that guy like getting an autograph, and they're like, bro,
You can't do that on camera.
Can't be asking for their autograph.
Hey, Tom, can you sign my uniform after this, please?
But I mean, it's like, dude, just be a human being with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, show them, like, you know, I got bad days too, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I show up to the gym, and I might have had to, but we're all good. You know, like, I'm going to be consistent.
I think the NBA has the best rapport with that. Like,
I think they're too much too.
Like, you think they're too personal?
They get bullied.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? And it's tough not to. When 6'8's walking you down.
No.
You know what I mean? And you're like,
I'm looking at the top of your head right now.
But I tell you what, I tell you who holds their ground better than anyone, and it's probably because, and I don't know this because I'm not one, but it's female NBA officials. If you've ever seen some of the top female NBA officials, they will get barked at for either not calling or calling something, and they will bark back. And I'm talking about like MF, shut the F up, quit crying, you know, like get at them. And it's probably a little bit of a, you know, of a protection of if you come at me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You have
like,
to. Yeah.
Terrible
You're
optic.
in
You're
a
going
man's
under the
world,
jail.
really. I mean,
You're
that's
going,
a man's job.
They're going to arrest you right here.
Yeah.
You know? But that to me has been one thing that has kind of jumped out, is that's got to be a very intimidating spot first and foremost. And I guess the way to really handle that would be like, hey, you ain't messing with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to talk to me. You're not going to push me around, and I'm going to hold my ground, really.
There's a female ref in the high school basketball circuit that called a lot of our games, and she brought an extra law enforcement officer with her every time. And at the beginning of the game, like, she would go to the table, like, talk to everybody, like it was a thing, like, in order to start the game. And like, she had an officer there, like, because she had some people like really
No doubt.
came at her.
Absolutely.
And like, she didn't play anymore.
And look, when you get into those gyms, I called high school basketball for 1 year.
You were late.
1 year, and I was like, dude, I'm out. This is
I'm
not
out.
for
Can't
me,
do
man.
this.
This is not for me.
Well, the parents, like, we go wild.
The parent,
do
but
the
you can get
cardio.
into
We
some
go wild.
situations, man, where, you know, you got your back turned on a baseline, and you're in a standing room only gym where there are people
right behind
2
you.
feet behind, like, I
Yeah.
mean, like right here. They could touch you on the shoulder, and a lot of times they will.
Oh, they will. We had
Right?
parents on the court.
Hey, ref.
In,
I mean,
in a
you know,
couple
like,
of games.
You missed that call down low earlier.
And there's some, there's
Don't
some
miss it
towns
again.
and there's some stories I've heard of longtime officials that scare you, like that will absolutely, make a lot of sense by bringing a cop with you to a game.
Yeah.
Like these people rushed the court at me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Or meet you in the parking lot. That's one thing about in college basketball or college football or the NFL. Like these people are escorted wherever they go. They're not walking to their cars after the game by themselves. There's a car waiting for college football officials. Before we even get to our tailgate, before you even get to your car, there is a police escorted van in the parking lot waiting on these guys and gets them to a private air at Baton Rouge Metropolitan. They shower there, get on a plane, and they don't keep those guys in a stadium. They're gone, but it's like a rock concert. Like the band is gone before you even leave the. You know what I mean? Like they've been gone.
No encore.
Right. I mean, that's how the officials are. In high school, you're walking out the gym into the parking lot. Odds are you're parked like in the middle of everybody.
Yes.
I was about to say, I've watched the officials
Same.
like come in the locker room and like go to the locker room, get dressed, like come through our locker room. Like, what's up, fellas?
I had a guy's older brother waiting on the parking lot for me.
Oh God.
Ooh, really?
The only person I've ever thrown out of a game was this.
What happened when you got out there?
He was standing there with his dad.
Oh.
Me and my dad are gonna beat you up.
And
Were they big?
The athletic
Like big
director
fellas?
where I was standing outside, and I was like kind of walking to my truck, and I saw him, and he kind of was barking loud. He wasn't moving, he wasn't walking, but he was like kind of like had this
sitting on the tailgate.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like threw his hands up, and like
that's Culotta.
That's him right there.
There's that MFer
But
right
I mean,
there.
it's 7th grade basketball.
Hey, zebra.
Oh,
You know what I mean, you
Jesus.
get into some of these towns at high school basketball. Can you imagine?
Jesus. I know I have a friend named Jacob, his dad, Mr. Todd. Refs and umpires were so happy when we graduated high school because he would let you have it from first tip to the end of the game. Like he would get kicked out of our biddy games. He would get kicked out of our little league games. He got kicked out of high school games, middle school games, like everywhere we went. You knew Mr. Todd was going to be there, and if he got into it with a ref, he's probably going to get kicked out. Like
That's crazy.
no doubt.
I'm kind of jealous.
Oh, bro, it was
You wanna
awesome.
do it?
Like it was great.
You should officiate.
You really
No,
should.
none of that. Of being the guy that gets the chirp, just like knowing every time, like I'm gonna pick on one of these officials.
And everybody knows.
Oh,
him for
I would
that.
be so
like,
laissez-faire as an official. You could not. I mean, it's
I
hard
think
to
you
get
should
under.
try it.
You can't get. It's hard to get under.
But
my
that's
skin.
good.
I know.
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
good. What's up, brother?
Do it,
Yeah.
Lloyd.
That's great.
Do it.
I mean, that's a great
I don't know the
mentality to have.
rules.
You do. What do you mean?
That's a problem.
You can learn them real quick.
I could do baseball. I couldn't do basketball. I wouldn't call a lot. I'd just be watching.
It's a technical. I think that's a tech. I don't
Then
know.
the parents would really
Bring the
love
rim
you.
down.
Basketball is just so
Fast.
It's fast.
so fast.
Yeah.
And it's
Just gotta-
if you've played basketball, you can call it. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
but
you know
if
how
you
to
haven't-
you know how to watch it.
Right.
You know what to look for. Like that was always my first question to anybody that came out. It was like my first game.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever
How many times you say that?
did you ever play basketball?
I feel
they're
like you need to call it.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Like that should be a prerequisite.
Yeah, I mean,
You
but
have
more
to.
than pickup.
Yeah.
Like play with
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
no, I
competitive,
mean
like,
that, yeah.
A team.
Yes,
where you got
that's
a
what I
coach
mean.
like telling you what's going on.
Yeah.
Like
When you see this set, this is what's going
Right.
to happen. This is what you're
you
looking
know what
for.
a screen is.
Yeah, and you
You
know
know
that
what
they're
a legal
going,
one is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know that they're going to grab you.
Exactly.
Like Reggie Miller was the king of that.
Yeah.
Like there's little nuances to the game that you're able to kind of finagle if you've played that. I can get away with this.
Didn't you play basketball?
Hell no.
Lloyd?
I thought you did for some reason.
Stewie, we saw the shootout. I mean, we don't have to bring that up. You know,
Did y'all record that?
Yeah, it's on our TikTok.
unfortunately for Stuart, not for me.
Yeah.
Horrible for me.
I was
That
in the middle.
bad
I'm
day
fine.
for the office.
Yeah, terrible day.
I mean, I came
Lloyd did
outside. I
great.
looked like the women's basketball, like the LSU women's basketball.
Oh,
Lloyd
my
did
shot.
great.
And I'm Alexis Morris.
Yeah.
7 for 15 from 3 is not bad.
Eesh.
I
I mean,
got
I'm not Larry
two.
Bird.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, it was
I'm
pretty
shooting
good.
just under 50%.
Especially like what our setup out there. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
poor Jake almost
Put
bit
me on a
the
real
dust.
goal.
Yeah. It was slippery.
But jumper's always wet, coach. It's always here.
He did fall down.
He did.
That was too bad.
That's a tough spot, though.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
tough spot. New work
Yeah,
in front of the new crowd.
Yeah.
I know.
That's a.
And he fall in front of him.
Ooh.
I
So they
did
come
that
in the
at a
locker room
job,
first.
like, when I
haven't
started a
seen him
job.
since. No.
It'd be like
Yeah.
it'd be like Jamar Kane walking in today and tripping and falling in front of the coach.
Yeah, wear the wrong
Oh,
polo.
man.
It's actually orange polo day. Like, oh, I laid this out.
I wore
Yeah,
black.
did you go with the retro logo? I love the Elway's version of.
Don Staley at Wear Jersey.
What an upgrade
Oh,
in towns
God.
for Cain.
Oh, you can't blame this man at all.
No.
Kidding me?
Jeez.
Who's blaming him?
This is a dream.
Yeah, Denver.
I mean,
Baton
come on.
Rouge to Denver?
Yeah, let me enjoy myself.
No time zone?
What
Don't
an
have to lock my doors
adjustment.
anymore?
No time zone. How do they operate?
That's Arizona.
They're on mountain time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're on high time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So they're an
Like
hour
mountain
behind
time.
us?
Mm-hmm. They
Yeah.
are.
Yep, and then there's one more
Pacific.
over Pacific.
It's not bad being an hour behind
No,
us, right?
you know what? I like the. I
It's
think
easy.
we're in a good time. I think Central Time.
Central.
Central's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Central
Eastern
seems normal.
Eastern messes me
I
up.
love being
Yeah.
on West Coast. I love traveling to West Coast time, but it's always a bummer
Coming
when
back
you
to
come
the
back.
lows.
It
yeah.
messes you up.
It's the
completely.
worst.
But there is awesome.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, it's great over there.
East Coast time must be the worst if you're trying to be a college football fan, right?
Or anything,
Mm.
any type of sports fan.
Starts
I mean,
at-
think about like the primetime NBA games tip off at 10:30 on East Coast time.
And
yeah,
that's
we don't function like that around here.
Oh my god!
I mean, I'm up.
We know you are.
Most of the time.
But if that's supposed to be the media capital of the world, it's like, I didn't watch the game. It's
That's where all the
10:30.
TVs
I
are.
know.
Yeah, it's 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see. I
Like,
saw
bro,
the first half.
I was sleeping.
Yeah. What happened?
Pac-12 after
Yeah,
dark.
and then Mike Greenberg's got to wake up at 3:30 in the morning. I DVR'd it. I'll watch it later in the morning on the Nordic track.
What? The Nordic track?
Yeah, the treadmill.
I know what it is. That was just random.
Bronny James is at the McDonald's All-American game. He was in the dunk contest. He stole the show.
I bet.
On Monday night, Monday night. He had 3 impressive dunks. Anybody see this?
Yes.
His dad won this event back in 2003, where he shut it down. It was the first time Bron did the between the legs dunk, I believe.
That's.
He threw himself the lob,
Yeah, oh,
caught it off the bounce.
I couldn't tell you one other person that was in the 2003 dunk contest, but I remember watching it live. And when I tell you talk about stealing the show, every dunk that he did, or every time, not even dunk.
Every time he touched the ball.
Every time he stood up to dunk, everybody was on their feet.
Yeah.
He had the
Was
DJ.
it in Cleveland?
I'm not sure.
I think it might have been in
If
Cleveland.
it was, then that makes a lot of sense. But it felt like Rucker Park. Every time he even
Yeah, sure.
licked the bottom of his shoes, they were like, something's about to happen.
Brandon Bass was in that game. He was in the 03 McDonald's game with LeBron and would always tell stories in the locker room about what that week was
That
like
aura.
with him. Because him and Bron were tight. They were pretty cool. Like, they were actually pretty cool friends at that time. Like, had made friends on the camp circuit. They went to ABCD camp together, Adidas. They went to Sonny Vaccaro, had some camps during that time that they were going to. So Bass knew LeBron kind of like during that time in his life when he was
The
like
star turn.
the chosen one. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, he was like the next coming of what is going to be great. And I want to say that it was in Cleveland, and LeBron had just gotten the Hummer. And Bass and LeBron were like cruising around like with Jay-Z.
Yeah,
like,
bumping Jay.
I mean, it was like crazy stories, dude. I mean, LeBron was 17 years old living the life of a
Superstar.
25-year-old absolute like superstar.
I really didn't realize you were talking about a car just then. Like, my mind
You thought
went.
he was getting a Hummer?
Yeah.
By Brandon Bass?
I didn't know. Like, my mind
better
went
get a
there
deal out of
first,
this.
and I was like,
I'm
"What
getting
did you just
drafted
say?"
too.
I looked at you, and you didn't respond. So then I was like, "Oh, the car."
Yeah, get Darius
I immediately
Miles
go
off
to
the
you.
cabs. Yeah, for the Hummer.
Jeez.
We have a Hummer across
Yeah, I
the
know.
street.
That's where my head went.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm sure he's
Where's
gotten
my head
one.
at today.
In the Hummer.
He's
Yeah.
definitely gotten one.
Hummer
in
and
the
a Hummer.
I saw Bronny he got popped going to slide in some DMs.
I'm sure he has.
Put him on blast.
Was it Scottie Pippen's wife?
Oh, God.
Sex 4 times a night.
No way.
You didn't see that story?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 4 times a week.
No,
4
well, I mean,
times
that's
a
normal.
Are you sure it was 4 times a
Jeez.
night?
4 times a
Yeah,
night.
you're right. It did say that.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
No way. Physically impossible, right?
It depends your definition of
Yeah, it
sex.
depends on what
Yeah,
you
Four
that's
did.
times a night.
That's true. What
Every
is the
single
definition of
night.
sex?
Every single night.
I mean, bro, first off, that ain't happening.
Not every single night.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. And now she's dating Michael
mean,
Jordan's kid. That's a tall task. And rumors are Scotty was third leg Greg in there. So
I mean, dude, he's 6'9".
well, that's why he and MJ had beef. MJ, you can intimidate people all you want till he comes to the shower. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
How did this come out? Like, where did this even come from? Why
What,
did this story?
The Larsa Pippen thing?
Yeah.
She said it herself.
She said it.
Why did she say that though?
Because
Like,
She's good at being in the news.
Yeah.
Well, she's got to stay in the
Or in the
news.
nudes.
yeah. Is she a real housewife?
No,
Like
she
on the
bounces
show?
around.
She doesn't. She's not on one of those shows.
No, I don't know. I just know that.
I feel like she's on something.
That story came out because
She is a lot of dick.
She can't. Yeah, not for TV.
Miles and miles and miles of dick. I mean, 4 times a day, every single day.
Pull her up,
Or Scotty's
Stewie.
popping
I'm
alive, like early.
I'm reading this right
Let's
now.
look at her though. Pull
Oh,
up a
she's
picture.
not very good looking. She
I
doesn't-
know.
Well, I mean,
she's
the toll of
typical.
both of us.
Hollywood,
takes
a lot of
over.
work done.
She looks
Yeah, I feel
exactly
like
like,
she has
she's
big
run through the
lips.
car wash of Bravo.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's got the fake lips, the
Yeah,
fake tits,
I
the
feel like she's
eyes
got
pulled
big
back.
lips.
Well,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's
She had to be
61.
put- she had
She's
to be
60
put back-
wanting to look 40.
She had to
How
be
old
put
is
back
she really?
together.
I don't know.
Do we know how
I mean,
old
how
she
old
is?
is Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan's what? 55?
Yeah, at least, right?
He
He's
just
got
turned
jaundice.
55?
Let's see how old
Oh,
Larsa
Carl
Pippen
says
is.
she was on one of the Housewives.
Larsa
She's 48.
Yeah, she is 48
She is?
years old.
Okay.
But
Pull her up. Put her up
I
there.
got you.
How old is Michael Jordan's son?
She looked really good in this picture. But now
28.
she looks way.
That's who she's dating, right?
Yeah.
Good for go, girl.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm
Right?
sure that. I mean,
Right?
Marcus Jordan finally makes his dad proud.
Oh.
He couldn't do it on the court, but I can do it off the court.
No, he never even tried basketball.
They both played.
No, they both played. I think they
Marcus
went to,
did?
Yeah, he went to Marquette. He wasn't that good though.
Not both of them weren't.
No, no Bronny James.
I think she was the daughter was the actual athlete.
Really?
Yeah.
She volleyball?
I think she was a hooper.
Hooper?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That could be LeBron's legacy, as both my kids are better than your two kids.
Definitely. And they definitely will be.
Yeah.
The second one, the
Yeah,
youngest one.
I don't know what
is
he's
gonna,
got on.
is gonna be.
He's like 6'7" right
I mean,
now.
and is a man.
And he
I
used
mean,
to
he's
be
got
a nerd.
LeBron's shoulders.
Yeah, and he used to look like
Yeah.
he was kind of pudgy.
I know.
And with glasses. Now the glasses look cool, and he's 6'7".
So here you go, Katie. Larsa
Okay, yeah.
Pippen.
I mean, she's hot, y'all.
I mean,
Come
that
on.
is
I'm
not
out.
real.
Yeah.
Well,
that
I
is-
didn't say it was real.
She doesn't
but
look like that every day.
Are you gonna
Yeah.
say she's not hot though?
If I woke up and
That's
I
a
saw
Bumble.
her,
That's a Bumble profile if I've ever seen
But
one.
she's
right?
still gonna have. She might not have the hair every day and the
Tinder.com.
eyelashes or whatever, but she's still got the boobs and lips every day. You're still waking up to boobs and lips.
Yeah, but
I'm
you're waking
out.
up to so much makip on your pillow
Oh
every
my
morning.
God.
To where
Yeah.
you're just like, oh,
Self-tanner.
prom.
The
Yeah,
out-
like, whoa.
Where'd Larsa go?
What happened?
The outline of the person from the spray tan
Yeah.
in the bed.
See,
The
she
aliens are
look-
finally here.
Are we together? Oh, okay.
All right, I appreciate everybody being with us here on this Tuesday. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Jacques will be here. We're also taking your voicemail, your text, and your phone calls. Get involved with us tomorrow, 225-229-7741. Have a take, don't suck. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Have a good day. Stay safe out there, out on the roads.
The rain
Do you think
came.
Scotty was popping off too early? Like maybe a premature issue?
Maybe look at her.
And just like, let's go for it
If I'm
again,
doing it
round
4
two.
times a night, you better be building up some stamina.
Yeah,
Coach.
Yeah.
working towards something here.
Yeah.
4 times.
But I mean,
First one didn't
again, what's that? It might not be like intercourse.
Katie, I'm going.
What's your
I'm
definition
going.
of sex?
I'm going. Intercourse.
Oh, wow.
Penetration.
Look at the latest Brady picks.
Oh yeah,
he
he's
naked
out
again?
there. He's looking. He said he's shopping
Oh,
for a woman.
He's trying to get a woman.
He needs
Yeah.
to get like a sex doll.
I know, my
I think
guy.
he's fine. I think he'll.
I love
I think
Tom
he can
Brady.
get whatever he wants.
He's hanging
Come
with the
on.
boys, man.
Yeah, I love Tom Brady.
Why does he need a sex
He's just
doll?
a guy's guy.
It just feels like it would just be easier for him.
Who
All
is
the
this?
drama.
He's got Edelman. Who's this?
Is that Gronk with him?
I saw Gronk. He's got Edelman, Gronk, and
Probably Amendola.
good-looking crew, bro.
Well,
I mean, yeah, they are. Jeez.
I mean, TB12, the action shot on TB12 is
I'm coming back.
amazing.
Really is.
I
You
mean,
think I have a
like-
chance?
That's come
Can
on
I?
your
Should I get
back.
down there?
Good Lord. Look at the legs on this
Oh,
guy.
he's great legs. I mean, that's what you don't think about is how tall he is.
How tall is
Tom?
Yeah, like
Yeah, he is like 6'5".
right.
he? Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, to go from what he looks like now from his draft day or combine picture,
It's unbelievable.
I
it
mean,
may
it's
not be
unreal.
the same person.
It's the greatest testament of what money can do
Mm-hmm.
that has ever existed.
Yes, it is.
It is the greatest.
the rich get richer.
So is Larsa
it-
Pippen.
I mean, she's just
Give me a
plastic
Larsa
surgery.
Give me a Larsa Pippen shot
Actually,
in
gold
'96.
shower.
Take care of that, Scotty.
Oh yeah, look her up pre-surgery, I guess.
Larsa Pippen.
I mean, that's probably
Wow,
scrub.
Brady looks incredible.
When you have that kind of money, you also have the kind of money to pay somebody to scrub the internet for
1998.
former photos of yourself
I
where you
don't
look
know,
fat.
man.
Oh no, she was
People
cute.
do this all the time. That's her?
Yeah,
Yeah, she's real cute.
she just is holding on to
She doesn't look that different. Okay, she already has lips.
Yeah, but she looked way better then than she
I agree
does
with
now.
that.
Oh, you think so?
I agree with
Yes, the work is like too much for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm out.
But she's aging,
I mean,
so she's
I
trying
think
to
that there is
stay
a class.
younger.
I mean,
Yeah,
once
she's
you
pretty.
get that much surgery, you pretty much look the same as all the people that have had
Yeah.
the surgery.
Well, you
Yeah.
get addicted to
You know
it.
what I mean? Like, it's like, and I don't. She doesn't look like she's addicted to it, but she's had the Beverly Hills special,
It's the
Yeah.
keeping up with the Joneses.
right? She's
Yeah.
had the lips, the eyes, and the tits.
Because what else are you going to do, really?
I got it. I
You
mean,
know
I
what
get
I
it.
mean?
I mean, hold up. This,
You're all doing the same thing.
I got to pull this picture up because it looks like Scotty pissed on himself.
Probably. I mean, that ain't pee, coach.
That was after number 3, round 3
Yeah.
on
I
Tuesday.
mean, he is in there with like 4 women. So let's see.
Have you seen that picture of Magic when it's like him and like 8 women? It's like, this is the day it happened. he's on the beach.
Have you seen the clip of Magic? Like, he's doing an interview and he's
Yes,
talking about like how he just can't control himself.
Is he young?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's just like a sex addict, pretty much.
He's like, we did it in the boardroom with the, and he goes,
Yeah.
like a corporate worker or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, they're having a meeting the next door over, and he's like, well, what made you drive? What made you think that y'all could have sex? And there's like, when they give Magic that look. He's like, you know what it is.
And he's like,
he couldn't be more proud of himself. Like,
he's like, hey, I mean, honestly, it was fun because it's like, I don't know when somebody's gonna
Gonna
walk
walk in
in.
this room.
Like, it's like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, half of it was the thrill. It's like, this woman's going to lose her job or get a promotion.
Look at Scotty.
Why does he look like he peed in his pants?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh wow.
Everyone pees their pants. It's the coolest.
Is that Larsa Pippen?
Yeah, it is. Larsa
Yeah,
Pippen.
see,
She
she's,
definitely looks better there.
But the lady
She still
next
has
to
the
her
boobs
is
and
like
the lips.
Scotty.
She didn't have the
What year
lips
is
there.
this?
She didn't have
She
the
doesn't-
lips there, and the eyes aren't peeled
Katie,
back.
what year do you think this
Whoever the chick is on the far
based off
right
the aesthetic?
is-
Yeah, that's
she's
what I'm
looking.
looking.
She's looking to
2002?
home wreck tonight.
That's the entourage.
I mean, like,
You got to go sleep with Turtle.
she is.
Wait, is it like 04 maybe? 02
That's what I'm
to
thinking. It
04?
seems like early 03, like early 2000s, I
Yeah,
should say.
for sure,
Very
with those tank tops. Yeah.
And the belt.
mhm.
Jeez.
Low rise.
All of that, yeah.
Thong hanging out
Gotta
just a
be.
touch. Little well tail.
Do you know, Stewie, when that is?
I do not. But the lady on the right is trying to wreck the home tonight.
Tonight.
Really is.
Tonight.
She's
Tonight.
like, stay
Hey,
up.
Larsa, you forgot your purse back there.
Yeah.
Scotty, your car's over here.
I don't find him attractive at all.
I mean, he's just a mountain of a man.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, he
It's
probably
too
took-
much.
Just
And-
curiosity.
And
gets you
he,
at that
and he
point.
talks
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Ugh."
So that's 3 times in one night in this picture, right?
Oh,
Who's
I
the
mean,
other lady on the other side of
I
it?
don't
Looks
know.
like
She looks like
Britney Spears'
Part of the
mom.
crew.
Yeah, she looks not as interesting.
You mind if we get a picture?
Yeah.
Mom, get in. It's the girl on the right's mom.
That girl has eyes for Scotty.
I mean, she's about to.
She's seeing her future.
She'll take her
really
dress
ready.
off right there.
She's ready right now. Say the word, Scotty.
Yeah.
We can do it again.
I don't care if that's your wife or not.
She can come with me.
That's hilarious. Everything about that photo.
All right, enjoy your Tuesday. Hopefully
a
it's as
belt.
cool as the Scottie Pippins was.
Yeah.
We will talk to you tomorrow, 7
No way
a.m.
He's awake right now. Or he is. It started early.